Welcome, folks, to this presentation of the Organ Pipe Cactus National Monument. My name is Javier Gurrola, and I'm going to be giving you a brief tour of the monument as I've experienced it over the past 10 years or so since I've lived here in Arizona, actually closer to 20. For this presentation, as far as the plant identification, the taxonomy, I'm going to be using the Arizona Field Guide. You can buy a copy of it at either online on Amazon. You can probably go to the Tucson Cactus Club and get it there. It's also available when it opens up again. It is available at the Desert Botanical Garden gift shop, and also the visitor center, the Chris Eagle Visitor Center at the National Monument, Organ Pipe Cactus National Monument. So in case you don't know, it's called the Field Guide or Field Guide to Cacti and Other Succulents of Arizona by Breslin, Romero, Starr, and Watkins. So without further ado, let's give this a go. So just some brief facts of the monument. It was established over 83 years ago in 1937. It is situated entirely within Pima County in the state of Arizona. It does share a border with Mexico for about 30 miles. It is a pretty large national monument at 500 plus square miles, and it is bounded by the Cabeza Prieta National Wildlife Refuge to the west and the Tohono O'odham Nation to the east. So, and that's an organ pipe cactus there on the left. So I'm just going to show basically a few, a few scenic shots of the monument just to kind of get a flavor of what it looks like. We are talking about the lower Sonoran Desert life zone. Basically, very little vegetation, mostly creosote bush, palo verde, and ironwood, and shrubs here and there. This place has a tendency to explode when there is a good winter rain, and I would encourage you to go during the winter, especially in the winter. After a few good rains, especially late winter, probably around January, February, and you can see a lot of blooms. So this is one shot that I really, really like because it shows all of the columnar cacti in one frame that only occur here mutually within the monument. And that is the saguaro there in the background, the organ pipe, of course, the namesake cactus of the monument, and the Senita there in the foreground. And this is kind of what it looks like. This was a late fall, early winter rain. You can see the clouds are really low. It was pretty cool out there. I just like the effect that this has on the monument in the desert landscape, for that matter. Here's when it's bright and sunny on a spring day. All that vegetation, especially the shrubbery, is very, very green. The ocotillos in the background are fully leafed out, and the cactus are budding up as well. And there's a Senita. Looks like it's enjoying life. Maybe it did have better days, but this is indicative of a lot of Senitas in the monument, probably due to cold tolerance or lack of, and that's why there's a lot of damage on some of these plants. Now, you're probably telling yourself, well, I grow Senitas in my yard. So without human intervention, without that extra water, without that extra care, without that extra loving, this is what they have to live with. Hopefully it rains and hopefully conditions are right so they can grow, mature and grow into healthy fruit-bearing adults. Some of the plants grow on rocks. As you can see, there's a Nichols hedgehog or yellow spine hedgehog, Echinocereus nicolai. And there is a shot close to the border road, close to the border. Actually, we're on the border road, and you can see the fence there in the background, uh, where the international boundary is with Mexico and the US. And this is my attempt at showing how things can look with different filters, or Photoshop, if you will. Black and white has always been a passion favorite thing of mine, and here's my attempt at showing a different flavor, different mood, you know, just showing a different aspect of the monument in monochrome. Okay, this is a map of the monument. I will be referring to this quite a bit. Uh, so let's see if this works. I'm going to use the highlighter here. Right there is the Chris Eagle Visitor Center, and that should, yep, that should show up yellow. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, if it's Chris Eagle or Chris Eggle. I apologize if I am, but I'll just say Eggle. But he was the officer that was the park ranger that was slain in the line of duty nearly, about 18 years ago. And so the visitor center is named in his honor. Because of the whole COVID situation right now, the monument's open for vehicular traffic, and you can go hiking there. But the visitor center is closed, and if you go online, they keep stuff up to date, so you can see what's closed and what's open. But for the most part, the monument's open right now. But public places, like these more modern amenities like the visitor center, are closed for the time being. I will be talking about, let's see, let me circle this too. I'll be talking about the Ajo Mountain Drive a little bit, and then the border road to Quitobaquito Pond as well. So those are the three, or really the two areas I'm going to highlight are the Mountain Drive and the border road. And there's the monument to Chris Eggle, who lost his life, like I said, about 18 years ago. Okay, so let's start off with the most obvious cactus, the namesake of the monument, Stenosarius thurberi, or the organ pipe cactus. You can see some of these constriction areas on some of the plants, not all of them, but because the organ pipe is considered more of a tropical species, it it basically barely gets into the U.S. On the Organ Pipe Cactus National Monument. There are some populations a little bit further north. I've actually been able to find a few of them, and you can go on SCINet to see for yourself where they're located. But a lot of the plants, for the most part, are not as cold tolerant. So those are the stressors. The young tender tips tend to die back a little bit, and then as a result, they get constricted, and then they grow out, and then they kind of repeat that year after year. Here's the spiny fruit that's on the organ pipes. Probably not very appetizing, to people, but you never know with these things. It's funny how things evolve in nature to some other animal, or maybe some other animal, whether it be an insect or a rodent, or who knows what, does find that appetizing. So a lot of these plants evolve ways to ward off certain predators or herbivores, but still allow them to be eaten in some way, because otherwise how do you disperse the seed? So just funny how that kind of happens in nature. So the organ pipe cactus. And some more shots. So that's a shot there of an organ pipe in bud. So this would be an image that I took in the springtime. I didn't stick around for it to open, or wait a few days for it to open, but they're normally white. They're normally they open up at night and kind of stay open for extended periods of time to be pollinated by various pollinators, whether it be bats or some of the native bees that we have here in the Sonoran Desert. And this is the same cactus, the same plant from slightly different perspectives. I really like it because this particular individual um, has very reddish or reddish orangey brownish spines. Most of the spines on organ pipes are kind of like a dark reddish color. I really like these because I really like this one in particular because it's very light colored and it's more on the reddish orangey side. And as you can see, it's right there. This is actually, the visitor center is right behind us from this shot. And that's 85. That's Highway 85 that passes through the monument. All right, the next cactus up is Lophocereus shottii, the Senita or the old man cactus. Uh, One of my favorite plants as a landscape cactus in general. I grow several clones of this myself, and I know people who grow various clones of this plant, of this particular cactus. They're very easy to obtain. I obtained most of mine through other friends who, they just cut off an arm from their yard, from a plant in their yard, or through trades or um, silent auctions, or even at the free table at some of our meetings at the Central Arizona Cactus and Succulent Society meetings. And so, anyway, more variable than you would think. Some of these have longer spines, whiter, as in the color white, white spines, corky spines. Thin stems, thick stems, you name it. They run the gamut, and some of them haven't even been named. Some of these cultivars have been named as well. Some more Senitas. Again, just kind of showing the variability. This cephalium tends not to grow all the way down to the bottom. So what will happen is the stem will grow to a certain height and then develop a cephalium in time. This other plant here on the left, that's actually on the border road, and it's one of my favorite plants. I don't know why, I just like it. It really stood out from the rest. Really, really, it had a certain green hue to it that the other plants didn't have. Really more corky white spines. Just a really neat, a really neat plant, a really neat individual that I found that really stood out over the others. Okay, so yeah, I believe. Okay, so right now I'm showing you this map because we are going to be cruising this road to Quitobaquito Pond, essentially south of the visitor center and heading west toward the pond. So there is the border road right here. That's the road that you're on, and there's literally the border right there with Mexico. And there's a road, there's an access road up here that you can see in the background. You are not allowed there, so don't try. You will get pulled over and asked, and rightfully so. That's the only access for law enforcement. But this is the public access road, this portion of it. As it was, or as it is now, I believe. Right now, that's the only thing that separates the U.S. from Mexico. I believe the new wall that's going up right now will look different than this. It's probably going to be a lot higher. I haven't been out there since the construction of the wall, but it's definitely going to look different than this. Mammillaria elongata. Why the heck am I showing this? Well, um, just hold on. Just give me a few, or indulge me, if you will, a little bit. I could have sworn I saw these out there, believe it or not, on the monument. When I saw this, I was like, I told my buddy, hey, what's Mammillaria elongata doing out there? Well, it's not. It's just that the Mammillaria thornburies that occur out there happen to be a little more golden spined than other populations that I'm used to seeing. I'm used to seeing the ones around Tucson, which are black, and the stems are much longer. Uh, Essentially, they look the same, but the only difference is these tend to be a little more golden spined. And right as the sun's going down, boy, they really look like that Mammillaria elongata quite a bit. But they're not. Um, are they a different subspecies of thornbury or variety? Well, maybe they are. Are they a new species? Who knows? But I can tell you they look very different from the ones that I'm used to seeing. The ones around Tucson tend to grow much longer and kind of sprawl out like an octopus. They kind of creep along the ground. I'm not sure if they root that way, but they do kind of creep along the ground, dive back and are able to root themselves. I don't know if the stem itself roots. I just know the terminal end does. So, but these guys are pretty cool. Like I said, they're unlike any thornburies that I've ever seen before. Another thornbury, and then a thornbury sharing its little piece of earth there with other Mammillaria species, probably Tetrancystra or Grami. I'm not really sure. Um, well, let me move on to the next slide. Yeah, okay. So there are two other fishhook cactus that occur on the monument, uh, Mammillaria grami and Mammillaria tetrancystra. I believe this is tetrancystra, and I believe this is grami. I didn't really I didn't really do the squeeze test. So the squeeze test is that if I don't recommend you do this with your fingers because then you'll get stuck to the plant. But if you gently squeeze the stem with say tweezers or a couple of sticks, Mammillaria grami is much stiffer, and Tetrancystra is a lot squishier. And then, but the telltale sign, I mean, the one that definitely is an absolute for me is the seeds of Mammillaria grami are small and shiny, small, smooth, and shiny, and the Tetrancystra tends to have larger, corkier seeds. So to me, the difference is night and day. Probably Tetrancystra. This little guy was probably the size of a dime. Uh, so that's a good sign to see that they are growing and recruiting. Uh, Engelmann's hedgehog, or Echinocerius engelmanni, a pretty standard cactus that occurs throughout the southwestern part of the state. Um, this tends to be a more purplish flower. Sometimes they kind of tend a little bit pink. They integrate with fasciculatus. That whole complex also includes Boyce Thompsoni as well. Um, but this is pure Engelmanni, just only because it occurs more west and south. Um, but a really pretty cactus and pretty very impressive. When it blooms. And one of my other favorites is a kind of Ceres Nicolai. I did show you a picture of one of these plants growing directly on rocks. Um, the golden spine hedgehog has a fairly limited distribution in Arizona, mostly in Pima County. They might get up to they might get up to Maricopa County a little bit, but for the most part, they're restricted to Pima County. So more of these guys, again, really like them a lot. Uh, very golden, and as you can imagine, during sunset, they look especially stunning, uh, against that red sky. Okay, something that you would not want to walk on barefoot at all. One of the club choice that occurs out there is Grussonia wrightiana, and very very, very xeric adapted, to low moisture or virtually no moisture and and high heat. So hot and dry environment is what these guys like. And some of them grow a little more upright. You probably think, well, hey, that doesn't that look like a teddy bear cholla, Cylindropuntia bigelovii? Yeah, I guess it does, but trust me, it's a Wrightiana. It's a Grussonia Wrightiana. A lot of these Grussonias, they like to form rings. Uh, so what happens is the original plant probably was kind of right there in the middle when it established itself, and then it just started growing outwards radially. And so it it kind of crawls along the ground, it creeps outwards and grows accordingly, by spreading itself from its central, original plant. Yeah, all I can say is ouch when I look at this picture. Just ouch, ouch. You do not want to step on this thing at all. And a couple of my favorite chollas that are out there. There's a number of them. I kind of already mentioned another one, the teddy bear cholla. Um, and then there's also Cylindropuntia acanthocarpa that occurs out there. The staghorn cholla, pretty common chollas that most of you members or most of you folks that are watching this are already familiar with. And then Cylindropuntia fulgida, or the chain fruit cactus as well. But these hardly anybody talks about. Leptocollus, the Christmas cholla, and you can always tell that it's a Christmas cholla because they always seem to have, every one I've ever seen always has these red fruits on them. Basically holdovers from previous blooms. And then arbuscula, which comes in a variety of colors. The flower does, orange, pink, red, purplish, shades of yellow, shades of green. Maybe I already said green, but anyway, just basically the spectrum of colors uh, that you can think of. I guess it's also called the bush choy. I guess you can tell because it's a bushy thing. Uh, Interesting. Okay, so let's see. I'm referring to this again because now we're going to talk about this area here. Oh, no, no, no. I'm sorry. Let me back up a little bit. We're almost getting to the end of the border road, so we're going to be here at Quitobaquito. No, I'm sorry. Okay, let me back up a little bit. Sorry about that. We're going to Senita Basin, and Senita Basin is, as you can tell from this map, uh, it's right off the border road, about halfway between 85 and Quitobaquito. Um, and it's called Senita Basin, I guess, because that's where maybe most of the stands of Senitas occur. But to me, the most interesting plant that occurs up there is this one. Yeah, Bursera microphylla, or the little leaf elephant tree. And this plant is extremely popular amongst cactus and succulent enthusiasts because it is considered a succulent, or like a pachycaudal type tree. One of those trees that you can bonsai, that you can form a really gnarly, funky trunk with. And so oh, and then to give, it's you can rip off the leaves, smell them. It kind of smells like frankincense a little bit, which is what it is. Actually, that's why it's called that, because of the resin. Very, very aromatic, very, very, you know, nice to smell. Probably you can probably use it for aromatherapy. Uh, you can buy these plants. They're pretty much all over the place in the nursery trade. Um, well, maybe not everywhere, but a few select places. The places that people like you and me normally shop at. So just a couple of more shots of them there at Senita Basin. again, very neat. They have these like palm-like leaves, kind of little palmate compound leaves that are pretty cool. Um, so this would have been a picture that I took in the springtime um, when it was in leaf. Right now, if you go out there, they're going to be pretty barren, leafless, in other words. Um, if anybody's familiar with Jatrophas, this is one of them that I really really like. I do grow this in my yard. Actually, it's in a pot right now um, that I obtained from a nursery down in Tucson. The ashy limberbush, Jatrophas cinerea. There are two other species that occur on the monument. I'm going to show you one more. The other one I didn't have a picture of. That's Jatropha cardiophylla. Cardiophylla and cinerea are very similar in the way they look. The way to tell them apart is, number one, these get much, much larger. Cinerea gets much, much larger. And the stems are, as the name implies, they're very ashy. Cardiophylla has more reddish, dark stems. If I said spines, I meant the uh, the stems are very ashy like, and the stems on Cardiophylla are more reddish, darkish in color. The leaves are almost identical to Cinerea, um, and but they're a little bit glossier. And just a close up of Jatropha cinerea. Yeah, makes a good garden plant if you're able to obtain one for your yard. I'd highly recommend it. And the other one that I have a picture of is Jatropha cuneata, basically what they're calling the shrubbery limberbush, or I can also call it the little leaf limberbush because it's on them and stands out from the other two species of Jatropha that occur out there. This is part of the Euphorbia family, the Euphorbiaceae. So they are a native euphorbia, if you will. Okay, uh, now we're now we're going to go to Quitobaquito. Okay, sorry about that. We were over here just previously on Senita Basin, so uh, maybe a little bit less than halfway. But Senita Basin Road, where we just were on, was up this way, kind of where I have that yellow circle right here. Uh, so right now we're going to go over to Quitobaquito, and there's the pond. Quitobaquito Pond, which was when I looked it up, when I learned a little more about it, believe it or not, it was made. It was constructed back in around 1870. For weary travelers, so they could have a water source as they were traveling, essentially from Mexico City to California. And this is home to the Quitobaquito pupfish, Cyprinodon aramus. Uh, that's a photo courtesy of the National Park Service. This is my picture, of course. But that's what it looks like when you reach the end of that road. You can walk around the pond. I think there's a little bench there. Probably sit down, have a sandwich, and enjoy the view. This is a spring-fed pond, so you can't see it in this picture, but in the background, kind of over here where these hills are, um, is a is actually a well. A man-made well, if you will, that regulates the flow out of the spring to fill this pond to keep it filled. And actually, at the visitor center, they do have a little display there with a bunch of pupfish in them outside. They've created an artificial stream there behind, outdoors behind the visitor center, where you can see these little guys just dart back and forth and do what little pupfish do. So that's my animal education for this presentation. A picture of of the pond. It is clay lined. and it does have to be maintained to make sure it doesn't evaporate or seep into the soil. But a really neat area. If you ever get a chance to go visit, I would highly recommend it. Um, yeah, Quitobaquito Pond. So these next few slides, these next few species, for good reason, I'm not going to tell you where to find them in the monument, especially this one. This is Echinopmastus acunensis, or the Acuna cactus. Uh, there are three other species that occur in the state. The most common one occurs throughout the western part of the state, in the desert areas from the California border all the way north to the Nevada border and beyond. That would be Echinopmastus johnsoni, and then around Tucson you get Echinopmastus erectocentris, the Pima pineapple, and then Echinopmastus intertextus, which I've never been able to find, uh, but supposedly it's there, and it's debatable whether it really should be lumped in with the erectocentris or not. But the Acuna cactus is pretty cool in its own right. Has a fairly limited distribution in the state of very spotty distribution in the state of Arizona. You will not find this. You will not find localities on SCI net at all. Again, for good reason, because it's like I said, it's federally protected, endangered, sensitive, all that good stuff. So here's an Acuna cactus growing on the base of a Jatropha cuneata. That one of the native euphorbs that we have here in the state of Arizona, or on the monument that I'm showcasing here for you. A lot of these plants, a lot of the Acuna cactuses that we saw there that we're able to find, a lot of them had tags, so they're being monitored, they're being surveyed, studied by somebody. I'm not really sure. A lot of the tags though had carcasses next to them, like just the spines that were left of the plant. What's probably happening is the beetles are laying eggs inside of them, and then the larvae, what it does is they'll literally eat it from the inside out, and the plant dies. Unfortunately, I guess these beetles have a pretty expensive taste in cacti, because this is definitely one that fetches high dollars in the black market in the trade. Um, but yeah, definitely, definitely, something that I guess has to be monitored for the health of the population. Um, a few small plants, we did find some small plants, so not a lot of recruitment, but probably some. Again, it's probably just a management headache with trying to manage these plants out in habitat. And one plant that is way more common than you realize is Pinioceras gregii transmontanus, the queen of the night. I don't have a picture of it flowering. I know I've never been able to capture it when it's in flower. Um, I've just never been to the right place at the right time. Maybe I should just try to take a picture of the one in my yard that I have, although it's never flowered for me. So I don't know. But these things are so common. It's ridiculous how common this plant is. You just can't see it, because it is very cryptic, and it can be hard to find, especially if it's in a creosote bush like this. You think, oh, that's just another creosote stem. But you can find a lot of them that just grow out in the open, just out in the open in the middle of nowhere, where it has no nurse plant, if you will. Wow, talk about a really cryptic plant to find. You can kind of tell that stem looks a little different. That stem, this one kind of looks out of place. And then there's that one there. It is striatus, or the gear stem cactus. Uh, Only one that I've been able to find out there. on the monument. It's supposed to occur a little more commonly on the Tohono O'odham Nation, but it's it's tribal land, so you're not supposed to be on there and doing that kind of thing. So this one, as you can tell, as you can see, was getting ready to flower. Um, this is the same individual, so this would be a close up of it. Um, but again, extremely difficult to find if if you're not looking, if you're not paying attention. Um, Penioceras striatus. Good luck trying to find it. Yeah, days. One of my favorite barrel cacti that occur in all of Arizona is Phaerocactus emeryii, or the Coville barrel. It used to be called Phaerocactus covellii. I guess it has both names now, but the common name or its former species name is now reserved for its common name, and it now has its own different species name. So Phaerocactus emeryii. There are two other species that are supposed to occur on in the monument: Phaerocactus acanthodes or Cylindraceus. As some other people know it, the compass barrel, or I guess the California barrel cactus, as it is sometimes referred to, and then the Wislezenii, Phaerocactus wislezenii. I'm not sure what the common name of that one is. Oh, I guess it's a fishhook. That's the fishhook barrel. Very real common around Tucson and further east in my home state of New Mexico and most of West Texas. But this one I really enjoy because just the flowers that it has, reddish, and as you can tell with this one, it has lighter margins on the petals, on the tepals. So there's a close up of Phaerocactus emeryii. Gotta love them. I just really like these things. And some smaller ones, probably around maybe I don't know, volleyball, basketball size, um, that are out there, just younger ones. This was let's see, this one was on that overcast day that I showed you a picture of early on in the presentation. So you can tell with the different lighting, with the diffused lighting, those spines really stand out and are more red. Okay, we have uh, the Kuhn's club cholla, or Griersonia kuhnzii. Um, Again, ouch. These differ from Rhytiana. They're a lot smaller, a little bit much more lower to the ground. They kind of look like the other Griersonia that occurs in Arizona, Parishii, which occurs further north along the California border a little bit, and Nevada border, and up around the Meadview, Kingman area. So this is its southern cousin, or nephew, niece, whatever. Um, so they're about the same size as far as the stem is concerned. And but again, ouch! You do not want to walk barefoot on that at all. Trust me. But it would definitely hurt. Let's see if you can see. There's one of those mammillaria thornberries that are kind of occurring in with the kunzii. Okay, you're in for a real treat now. We're going to go on the mountain drive a little bit, and I'm going to show you something really. I'm going to show you some crazy crests. All right, so these are the crested organ pipe cacti that occur along that mountain drive. the Ajo Mountain Drive. If you go, you might be able to find them online, but if you go to the visitor center again when it's open, they can tell you exactly where these are. They actually have them documented, and they have stops where you can, or you can pull outs where you can stop and check them out up close and in person, and take millions of pictures if you want. Um, so the rangers know where they are and they make them public, which I think is pretty cool, because trying to find one of these on your own is probably is going to take a lot of work. Um, so these next series of slides are just crested organ pipe cacti, naturally cresting organ pipe cacti that occur on that mountain loop. Oh, and by the way, let me back up a little bit. So that mountain loop and the border road and part of the other, there's another road that I didn't talk about, the North Puerto Blanco Road that occurs north of the on the west side of 85, north of the visitor center. So all those, only for a little bit, only for a little ways, the North Puerto Blanco Road, but all the, that one, that a section of that, the Ajo Mountain Loop, and the border road to Quitobaquito, you don't need a high clearance vehicle to go in it. I mean, you could literally you could almost take a Cadillac or I was going to say a limousine, a lowrider kind of vehicle, and you'll be fine. I take my pickup, it's a two-wheel drive, it's not lifted, standard highway tires, pretty inexpensive highway tires, and I do just fine. Um, so all these pictures that I'm showing you, I mean, I guess with few exceptions, you can get in there comfortably and have no issues. That's a close-up of that crest. Wow, look at that. That looks like a double neck guitar that Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin would play Black Dog, Stairway to Heaven, or Over the Hills and Far Away. But that's just amazing. The crest is just amazing on that, the double crest. What else can I say? You got to go out and look at these things. Pretty cool. A close up of that, of the double neck, and kind of a shot, kind of a more wider shot showing the whole plant, the whole cactus. Uh, it's kind of nice to see new stems growing here, 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 and here. Uh, and so yeah, I mean, go check them out. Kind of like a catcher's mitt, huh? Just waiting for that fastball to be thrown there. So this one here is this one. So that's on one plant, two different crests growing on the same plant, different directions. And this is just obscene. I mean, this is just crazy. This is this has to be the best crest on any cactus that I've ever seen in my life. Um, this thing is probably, if I remember, like 3.5 feet tall, maybe 2.5 feet wide, and just massive. It's just massive, and it's just crazy insane looking. And there's the rest of the plant that it's on. And a close up, just way cool. Way cool. Go check them out. You won't be disappointed. So a few parting shots, just to kind of say goodbye, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to present, my outings to you. Uh, I will mention my buddy that I go out with, Chris Ginkle. Thank you for coming out with me on these trips, on these adventures. I really appreciate it. Um, he's one of my partners in crime, and we go out tromping through the desert and looking at things and studying things, and it really makes when you study some stuff field, it just makes it that much more interesting to me. When you're growing it in your yard, um, when you go amass a collection of plants like these cacti, like these other succulents, from nurseries, from trades, from the free table, whatever. It just makes growing them much more interesting when you're able to see them out in the wild. Uh, you know, um, I obviously grow stuff from all over the Western Hemisphere. From pretty much Utah all the way down to the South America. Wouldn't it be cool if we could all have these experiences and appreciate them out in nature, and appreciate what you grow. There's different levels of appreciation, but for me, that's just for me how what makes things interesting, and I guess makes life worth living. To each their own. But I would love to go, like, for example, to South America and check out some of the plants down there that I grow up here, like a lot of the tephro cactus, or a lot of the more subspecies or species that don't occur up here in the U.S. That's my favorite Senita of the whole monument. I do go visit it every once in a while. Um, it will stand out like a sore thumb. It's just north of the border road, probably about halfway, a little bit west of the turnoff to Senita Basin. It's growing. I mean, there's nothing around it, for several meters. Another really cool looking Senita. And that one Nikolai, uh, the golden spine hedgehog that's growing on a rock. How it got established there, who knows? Where it's getting its water from, who knows? Just amazing how it's surviving out there. And my favorite organ pipe that occurs right next to 85. That's 85 right there, Highway 85. Again, it stands out like a sore thumb because it has very kind of light reddish orangey spines. And thank you very much. Thanks again. Once again, my name is Javier Gurrola. If we ever come across in person, don't hesitate to walk up to me, ask me any questions, make any comments, tell me what I got wrong, what I got right. I'm always looking to improve myself in these presentations. Uh, don't forget, I can say this because this is a YouTube video. Don't forget to hit the like there at the bottom, and drop a comment on the comment tab. Thanks, guys.